They laughed at her boots, her badge, her quiet walk, right up until one touch at the main gate froze an entire base in silence. If you like tense veteran-style stories with sharp twists, hit subscribe and don't miss the next one. They mocked her at the main gate because that's what board guards do when someone doesn't fit the picture, and she didn't, short, calm, carrying a battered clipboard instead of a rifle, hair tucked tight. Eyes steady like she'd already counted the seconds in her head. Someone joked she was lost, another asked if she'd borrow the uniform, and the radio crackled with laughter as she waited, patient, listening. Because patience had kept her alive longer than bravado ever did, and when they finally waved her closer the senior guard smirked and told her the scanner was down, manual check only, as if inconvenience were a weapon. So she nodded and placed one gloved finger on the emergency override plate no one touched unless they knew exactly what it did, the kind of knowledge you earn after watching systems fail in places no one admits exist. And the base responded instantly, not with alarms at first but with absence, a sudden dead quiet as lights dimmed, gates sealed, drones lifted from their nests, radios cut to encrypted channels. And the mocking smiles slid off faces like masks pulled away. The lockdown wasn't loud, it was surgical, a protocol buried under layers of authority that only answered to a signature most of them had never seen. And as steel barriers rose and the perimeter locked itself into a hardened grid, the guards realized the clipboard wasn't paperwork but a key, the kind that rewrites the day, and she finally spoke, voice low, almost kind. Explaining that the base had been compromised in 3 subtle ways: timing, access, assumption, and that the drill they'd laughed about in training was now live, because the real test was never about enemies at the fence but complacency at the gate. She walked past them as response teams flooded the yard, faces pale, boots pounding, and somewhere deep in a command bunker a general stared at a green-lit panel and recognized the call sign he'd hoped never to see again. Understanding too late that the woman they'd mocked wasn't there to visit, wasn't there to ask permission, but to prove a point so thoroughly that no one would ever forget how close quiet failure can get before a single touch stops everything.